3 wolf puppies were rescued from unwanted intruders by an old woman. The way they thanked her would astound you. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Annika, an older woman, was enjoying her golden years in a peaceful village on the edge of a Russian forest. Despite the fact that her children and grandkids had all relocated across the nation, she was happy living a modest life. She was familiar with all of the local store owners, her postmen, and her neighbors. Sergei Ivanov, who owned the greengrocer around the corner, was one of those shopkeepers. During the 25 years that Sergei's father, Andrei, was still living, Annika had been shopping there. Mikhail, Annika's husband, and Andrei were close friends who both died of heart attacks in the same week. Sergei now insisted on bringing her order every week as a result. She would hear a soft knock on the door early on Monday mornings, but by the time she got there and answered it, Sergei would have already cycled out, bidding her farewell. There would be a tidy box of fruits and veggies on the porch, with a happy face painted on the side. Opening and putting away the package on Annika's tabletop was the highlight of her week. She always looked forward to the surprise of the few extra pieces that Sergei would always offer her. Although Annika enjoyed cooking for her loved ones, she had lost touch with most of them in recent years. She cooked just for herself now, and the home seemed too quiet at times. She made the decision one day to have Sergei from the grocer come over so he could sample what she was preparing using his supplies. She invited him to dinner via a note she left on the doorway late on Sunday night. She heard the knock the following morning and showed up at the door as usual. She noticed that beneath her message, Sergei had written a response as she glanced down at the doorstep where the box of veggies was. It said, "I would like to. Maybe Thursday at 6 o'clock?" Annika turned to face the sidewalk and noticed Sergei was still waiting on his bike. They both grinned before bidding one other farewell, and she gave him a hearty thumbs up. She was in the kitchen that whole Thursday. Using the tomatoes, onions, and carrots from their store, she prepared spaghetti bolognese the way Sergei's dad had. To his astonishment, Annika revealed to Sergei that she had visited their family farm several times with his father. Sergei had been telling Annika about his weekly trips up there to gather all of the fresh food over supper. When Sergei was ready to go, they had eaten a large apple pie and spent the entire evening laughing and eating. Annika gave a wave, and the home was silent once again. Nothing unusual happened on Monday morning of the next week. When she opened the door to discover another package, she heard Sergei's soft knock and descended the creaky steps. She was going to have a great surprise, though, this time. It seemed a little heavier than normal when she hoisted the package onto the counter. Actually, it weighed a lot more. When she opened it and removed the tape, she didn't give it any thought. The box was disorganized. Not only was the box destroyed, but there were shredded carrots and tomatoes all over the place. She realized why when she looked over to the opposite side of the box. 3 little pups were huddled together in a corner. With a start, Annika retreated and had to regain her breath. She got herself together and looked into the box once again, and they were still there. "Oh my, what's going on here?" she said, shocked. The puppies gingerly approached her hands and started to lick them as she slowly opened the package. Their tongues tickled Annika, who smiled and realized that these were no ordinary pups. They had very black hair and large, bushy tails. These were canines she had only ever seen in movies. After she placed the box on the ground, the 3 travelers gradually came out. They were cold and shy at first, but after Annika provided them food, drink, and a blanket, they warmed up to her. Annika wanted to give Sergei a call, but her just-purchased cell phone did not have his number. She concluded that it could wait until Sergei returned for his next delivery the next week. Annika located some blankets for the dogs to sleep on in the interim, but despite her best efforts to create a cozy bed for them, they appeared to be content to follow their new companion. Annika finally gave in and allowed them to sleep on the bed. She began to adjust to the dog's presence over the course of the following 6 days. She cooked her meals with meat from her freezer, canned foods, and leftovers. She didn't have any fresh veggies. She was shocked to see that she was also preparing meals for the 3 puppies. By Monday morning, they were determined not to spend even a single second without seeing Annika. Then, as the light continued to rise, She heard the same knock on her door. Annika was not far behind her young refugees, even if they beat her to the door this time. Sergei turned to leave when she opened the door and caught him in the act. "Come in here for a moment, Sergei. You won't believe what transpired." The three new occupants welcomed him as he ascended the front steps inside the home. Sergei couldn't say anything. He inquired, "Where did you get these from?" with curiosity. Annika answered, "Sergei, you tell me. Last week they were in your veggie box." Sergei quickly recognized what had transpired as his expression changed from one of perplexity to thought. Sergei informed Annika that they weren't puppies at all, but rather wolf cubs, which shocked her. He told her that a family of wolves had been residing in the barn on their property, but that the guy had killed the wolf after hearing gunfire from a hunter a few days after the mother had given birth. Sergei searched everywhere, but was unable to locate the cubs. "It seems like they infiltrated your box before I shut it. I sincerely apologize," Sergei said. Annika reassured him that everything would be well, and upon his promise to return to the farm, she said, "You know what? They seem like they're starting to grow on me." About 6 months later, Annika heard a knock at the door one night. She was wrapping up supper and wasn't expecting anyone. But then again, she hadn't been very organized lately, so maybe she hadn't remembered to ask someone over. However, the three wolf puppies snarled gently at the entrance as she stood up. For the last 6 months, whenever Sergei had gone to see her, they had never been bothered, but this time was different. Annika noticed two males who were observing the area warily via the peephole. Subsequently, the guys attempted to unlock the door. She heard the door frame trembling and the keyhole jiggling. Leaping backwards, she hurried to the kitchen table where her phone sat, ready to dial the police. She realized she wasn't going to have much time since the door was starting to come free. The phone rang. An operator answered, and before Annika could even provide her address, the door crashed shut. The two guys ran toward her, inside the home. One of the assailants knocked the knife she was holding from her hand when she picked it up from the tabletop. Then the man screamed and fell on the ground, right when she was at her most vulnerable. The three cubs that had bitten his ankle were visible to him as he turned to look behind him. His companion froze in fear and ran out the door as he rolled about on the floor. Fortunately for Annika, that's when the cops showed up. The guy was apprehended by 2 cops in a short amount of time. The thieves had, it turned out, been stealing the homes of old ladies, but not this time. Annika was advised by the police that having dogs that were so protective was a blessing. Annika said, yes, they are very good dogs, but she would rather not mention that they were actually wolves. The least she could do after they had saved her life was to attempt to feed them well. She prepared spaghetti bolognese for all of the wolves the following day. How did you feel about this narrative? Kindly share your thoughts with us in the space provided for comments below. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.